Yeah, hi. Okay, Pooja, can you please brief yourself, Pooja?
Yeah, so I have overall experience as 11.9 months since I have started my career in Hadoop only. So I have relevant experience in Hadoop ecosystem is 10 years. And currently I'm working with the company IBM. And so recently I've joined IBM, and before that I was working with TCS with the client 6 years. So with the client Bank of America for 6 years. So I have mostly worked with the Hadoop ecosystem like Hive, Python, Spark, and uh, shell scripting. Then in IBM, I have more towards the cloud computing technology. So we have used there as Azure Databricks. Since I have started my career in Hadoop only, so all the projects I have worked with the Hadoop ecosystem only,
Mhm.
and mostly the more experience in Hadoop ecosystem is Hive, and with some of the things with the scope and MapReduce and Flume is there, and then after that, like big data is already right now is in enhancement stage. So Python Spark is come into the picture. So we implement the things in Python Spark also. And later on, now the things are moving towards the cloud computing. So I explored the Azure Databricks with Python Spark.
May I know why you used Flume in your project?
If I will explain my project of TCS one,
Mhm.
if you're interested, I can go ahead to explain that, and you can
Yeah, yeah,
understand
you
about.
just explain at high level what was the
Okay.
project.
So the project is regarding the fraud detection model. So we have trained the data, which is based on the machine learning algorithm, which is XGBoost algorithm. So I was the first resource into that project, and later on more Hadoop resource have joined into the team. So I was the SME into that project. The project is regarding, like, we have created one data hub. And doing a data extraction. So suppose if you are doing from your debit and credit card any transaction, so how many time you have changed your ATM pin. So those kind of attributes we have developed with the Hive queries and do the data extraction. Once we do the data extraction, we pass this data set which is flagging as set which is flagging as a fraud and non-fraud. That kind of data set we passing to the data science team, and they plot the graph and see the pattern of those attributes. If any of these attributes for those data extraction, which is we have done for the few months, for a few months. So if any of the attributes is changing in a particular date or by week, we need to look after them, like why it is a data pattern is changing for that particular period or date. Those kind of analysis we need to do with the data set. Then we done with all these attribution attribute, like 360 attributes are there, that one. We compare this value with the real time value. Real time table is there we have a same set of attributes are there. So we compare this value with real time, and again data sim see once we did the data extraction, we pass this data set from both the side, and data science team will plot the graph and see that for both these table the graph is coming correct or not. If it is not, we will need to analyze from both the side. So likewise, we are claiming and training the data, that is a cold data, and saying that our data model is able to detect the fraud, which is 99.9%. Later on, we move these things into the Python Spark framework on real-time table. So whatever the attributes we have, we are doing a statistical measurement like mean, max, average, standard deviation, and setting a threshold value, which is upper bound and lower bound. If any of these attributes attributes is crossing their limit, upper bound and lower bound, we are just shooting an email and saying that these number of attributes is having some issues. So this once this mail is generated and report is coming, data science team analyze that report and adjust the value of few attributes and saying that we can ignore this thing today. Likewise, he will analyze and we can pass on to the this data set to the other team and saying that the flag is coming for these attributes, the maybe the fraud is alerted. So that will be taken care by the other team, and he will check that for fraud and non-fraud part. So likewise, this process, the whole thing will went into the Python Spark framework, and the whole thing is running in production daily. So daily job is running, and by any chance, if any job is failed or due to some issue, the data is not loaded from a real time table for the previous date, we need to hold our job and locally run this job into our local cluster and patch the data once the CRQ generate for the next production release. So we need to patch the data into the production tables, and again need to run those jobs into the production environment. So during the project, I have learned one more tool which is called WebHDFS. So this is about the project, and for visualization, we have used Tableau there.
All right, but is there any guarantee that when we use Flume, will it deliver 100% data, whatever we pulled from the source? Is more related to banking data. Um, so I understood Kafka will give you a guarantee that every data which is pulling from the source, it will sync to target. Whereas Flume sometimes may not do that. So there might be a loss of data, right? So how will you
Correct.
handle that?
Correct. So, see, the data is coming from different channels. So, data is dumping by the help of Flume job. So, sometimes it happened like data is not loaded correctly, and that's what we need to monitor very closely those jobs and dependency on Flume jobs, and then validation need to be processed. So, those kind of validations we have put. When we write the job from jobs and the data which is coming, so it is like daily data is coming in some fixed number of rows from the different channel. So so we have did some validation like that, checkpoints are there.
Understood, but that will increase your work, right? So
Correct.
why I don't know
Yeah, that's
who has
that's
developed
uh,
that application, but that is not a good idea, correct? Like even one transaction miss, then it's a huge loss to the business.
Yeah, yeah. No, no, but it's
Um,
like other team is taking care of that Flume job. So we have proposed the different thing, but they have won't agree to implement the other thing. So it's their call. Like they need to handle the things.
so uh, in which area you work? Like in a development area you worked or in support?
So I have worked on Hive queries development and even Python Spark development, and even
Hmm.
to support the jobs which is running in productions.
Hmm. So okay, so you have a both, as a developer, as a you can say DevOps kind of work also you done
Correct,
previously, correct?
correct. Yes, yes. If we need to do as per my experience, we need to do some extra efforts to the for the project also. So we are here and there. We are picking up the task.
Yeah, yeah, since you are holding 10 years plus experience, definitely, um, team may expect more other than these two areas.
Yeah, yeah. Like I always get a role as a Hadoop developer only in the project. But
Mhm.
here and there, we need to do some extra work like documentation. If you need to batch the data from one environment to another, so those kind of
Mhm.
things need to be documented in somewhere in big bucket. Those kind of things need to be taken care extra apart from
Correct.
that.
And your position I think since you are having 10 years plus experience, it should be a lead position as per my knowledge, right? Not a developer. Lead can do development and manage the team,
Mm,
and also involve in designing, and he can coordinate with other areas where DevOps team or support team, mix of activities a lead
yes,
can handle.
correct,
So
correct,
those kind of activities, even you are not doing in this company, what you are working so far, when you go for any other company, for your experience, definitely they will expect more than the
correct.
developer, right? If you are
Mm-hmm.
a 5 years experience, okay, that is okay. If you are now having a developer, then they may give you a senior developer. But if you are having a 7 or 8 years plus experience, definitely they will recommend you, lead position or architect position if you are having a more than 12 years experience generally, right? So now whatever you are having maybe okay for you and for the company, but since you are willing to change, then uh, obviously you have to improve in those areas. People will expect the same thing from you. You got it right?
Yeah. So see, with my current company, I already leaved. It's kind of layoff happened in the company.
Okay. Hmm.
So I
Okay.
am searching for a job,
Okay.
and I am struggling for a job right now. So I need to figure out the things like if there is no market is not good right now. So they are not to be in place to someone to hire as a lead position or a developer position. It's not clear by the client right now.
All right. I will
So
address this question. We will discuss in the last. Okay.
okay,
For
okay.
few minutes, especially, to get a job at this current position or current situation, what needs to be
Mm-hmm.
done from our end. Okay, I will try to give
Mm-hmm.
you my thoughts. Then, if it is
Mm-hmm.
useful, then you can also follow. Right?
Sure, sure, sure.
No worries. So I'm more interested on this Databricks PySpark that you used in your project. So what
Mm-hmm.
kind of code you will return? Like, can you please give me an example with a use case?
So it's a promo optimization project, meaning we are working for the retail client, which is Gap in. I know, I hope you have heard the name. So what is like we are having a data coming from different APIs, and for that we are dumping a data in Azure with the help of Azure, and in the BLOB storage file system. So I have explored Azure cloud computing there only. So in BLOB storage file system, we are storing this data. In this project, we have set up a cluster, and it is auto scaling in three category like low, medium, and high. But it always run in medium cluster only, because that it's kind of POC, and we're trying to give this thing to the client, but it won't work, and it went into the hold.
All right. See, I understood the flow. First of all, being a developer, right? You
Mm.
might face different situations, correct? So
Mhm.
one of the most important is in production, error handling. So how you are handling these errors in production or bugs? How you are fixing it? If you are working for support, okay, then how you handle this, like how you developed this, and how much time you generally take to fix it.
You mean some job is already running in production and it is failing? So how I will handle these things?
All right, let me put this way, leave it about the production. Like while we develop something, right, so definitely there should be a error handling implementation, correct, or
Correct.
audit log, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
uh, how you implement those. Can you please give me one scenario?
So in that case, see. there will be agile methodologies coming, like agile method we are follow, like they will create one jira and we need to work on the timelines. So once we develop the things, the QA team is involved. So before that only we have develop a code and do the validation check from our side, like it is working correct, what are the logic we have written. So, validation check, like suppose I have written a code for last 6 months, how many time you have changed your pin for any particular customer. So I will pick some few customers and try to solve it, try to come with the figure by without the code, like how what is the value is coming with this. And the logic which we have written, if it is matching with that, we are good, and we will implement the code and pass on this to the QA team, so that they will give some sign off. If QA team is not able to he come with the defects, then we will need to see the things again.
What is the maximum size of the file that you are handling in your project?
In real time using, or just
Yeah, yeah, in production,
old?
in production.
It is in MB for each day. uh, like it is an MB only, not a much data is coming in one day, so it is an MB, 500 MB only.
Hmm. So, how many jobs generally run every day?
So we have scheduled a job with the autosys scheduler, and it is scheduled at 3 o'clock afternoon. But before that, we have create one dependency on that scheduled job. Like Flume job should be finished, then only our job will be triggered. But sometime we have given the timeline, but like it will be triggered at 3 o'clock. But we have give the condition on that, like once the Loom job will finish and up the data on the real time table, then only our job will be triggered.
Hmm. How much time it
Like,
will take? Maximum time for any job?
so for us it took 3 to 4 hours.
Oh, that MB, small
Mm.
MB of data, why it will take that much hours?
So we have 360 attributes, and we are doing 18 statical measurements. So for that, it took around 3 to 4 hours to complete.
I didn't understand, like, you are saying that you used PySpark or Databricks and also Azure. In Azure, what you using?
No, I am talking about the TCS one. Azure one is different. So in Azure, that job we have like not scheduling. Like I have told you that it is POC only. It will not went into the production. So I'm talking
Hmm.
about the TCS one, the one which I have explained you.
Yeah, okay. The TCSN, you used PySpark, correct?
Correct.
In Databricks, right?
Databricks not only PySpark.
PySpark. Okay. So, since we are using PySpark, right? And again, the same question, like how many transformations that is taking at the huge time, like even you do some validation, some 18 steps or 20 steps or whatever the validation that you're going to do, will it take that many numbers of hours?
Yeah, so it's like a mean, max, average, standard deviation for each attributes, like 360 attributes are there. For
Oh,
last 30 days, whatever the mean is there, you need to calculate and then need to forward for the next one. So it took around 3 to 4 hours.
so I just want to know, like, to create a data frame, with any file, okay, take any file, let's say JSON. So what is the syntax that you follow?
First of all, we need to create a Spark session. Then,
Hmm.
for reading a JSON file, you need to use that Spark session variable, like in whatever the variable you have stored it, and spark.read.json. You can read with the help of this thing, JSON file.
Okay, so how you assign the configuration, Spark configuration. Like let us say it's based on the data which is coming in and which is based on the data which we are going to process, right? How you do that configuration, how many worker nodes required, how much memory is required, how many cores are required, something like that.
See, Spark, once you submit a job, the partition will be created based on the block size. So, suppose 128 MB is the block size. So, based on that, the data, whatever the file you have submit, they will create the partition on based on the block size only. Then, that configuration, like when you're submitting a Spark job, then you need to specify the executive memory and hyphen executive memory and Python. More are there like Python script path and log file and those number of parameters configuration you need to mention there when you are submitting a Spark
Yeah,
job.
yeah, the same question like when we submit a Spark submit command with the required parameters in cluster mode, then um, you know how you decide those parameters, especially related to Spark configuration.
So there is an so frankly speaking, there is a thumb rule which from there we can decide the number of executor and memory. That there is a thumb rule that I don't know. Like I not remember that, but frankly speaking, I have not configured anything from the changing the memory or executor memory from my side. I fix the code if it is failed from out of memory thing. Like I fix the code, like tune the job, Spark job. So
Okay,
I don't
what
know
you
that.
do as part of yeah, understood. So as
Mm.
part of performance tuning, you said you have worked on a performance tuning, right? So what are
So
all
we
performance tuning that you applied?
So we have used repartition and collays and not use the heavy transformation like joints. Many times joints to be used everywhere. That kind of thing we have avoided once we submit a Spark job. And even broadcast variable we have used to process some result in memory so that we do not to do again and again calculation for mean and max average. If it is used somewhere, that mean output should be used in other table like I will say we have a three final table is coming, which is the input for from the first table input. Output will be the input for the second table. So those kind of calculations which already done, we have storing it into the cache and using some broadcast variable also. In some of the places we have used the counter. So those kind of a counter should be stored in some broadcast variable in aggregate accumulator variables. Likewise, we have managed it and so storing part also. So these tables, it's already in ParQ file format. So in storing also, we are trying to use it and save it in ParQ format only. So file format we keep in mind to store it in such a way that that the heavy transformations and heavy things should not be there in Spark Summit jobs.
Mhm. Okay, so have you ever implemented this delta loading concept?
Yeah, in IBM, I have used this delta loading concept because retail account is having a data daily updated. That's
Hmm.
why we have storing it into the delta lake thing. We have used as a delta lake thing in storage files format, so that the updation, deletions, and alterations all should be take care by that. Uh,
Can you please give me one example, like in case of incremental load or delta load, how you implemented in your current in your previous project?
So Delta Lake, like some data is coming daily from different APIs. So it should be know that where is the incremental load. So the incremental load will be happened. So we have created a architecture like that. It should be know with the obviously the ideal thing should be like a date and timestamp with where from where, at what time the data is coming. So we put the checkpoint on the date and timestamp only, so that we can know about the recent data which is inserted in the into the delta lake.
In delta load, generally we capture all updated records and new records in addition to the
Hmm.
existing one, correct?
Hmm.
So have you implemented a special logic to pull such kind of a data, or system itself will take care when you write some automated code, how it will
No, no.
happen in your case?
No, no. So it will be take care by the Azure Delta Lake. But if you need to fetch the data and store it in some table, for that we have used some window function, so that we get to know that this is the recent record, or these number of records are recently inserted. So these things, some transformations we have applied with Python Spark, and try to find out the things. Analytics analysis we have did there with the help of window functions.
Hmm.
So suppose if any we need to find some ranking for these records. So that kind of thing we have did in Azure, the help
Okay.
of window function.
Okay. Um, okay, Pooja. So, idea is like I'm not going in depth in Python or Scala or Hive, because you already have a 10 years plus experience. I definitely guess you should have a required knowledge on it. Um,
Mm.
I would have asked more questions from Hive or Spark, if you have only 5 years experience or 6 years experience. So idea is like when you go for any interview, right? For your experience, they will first of all focus on these kind of a questions, like scenario based as well as the project based more, and what are the challenges that you faced during your project execution and how you handled it, and also approach analytical thinking. If you get any problem, then how you resolve it, either in production or in non-prod. And then if you give a correct answers, then they may also test on your coding skills. So how can you rate yourself in Python out of 5?
Python Spark, I can give myself 4.
What about Hive or SQL?
SQL 5, I can give myself 4. I'm good in SQL and Hive.
So what is the data denormalization?
Data denormalization.
Mhm.
Exact definition I don't know, but like if you need to, uh, you have a normalized data. Suppose normalized table is there, so you need to be more denormalize those table, meaning like create a subtables of those normalized table. So that will be called as a denormalized table.
You mean one big table is there, from that you are creating a multiple small tables?
Yes, yes, that is called as a denormalized table.
Denormalization.
Yes.
Why we do that?
Um, why we do that? So that like suppose to we make it more in structure format, and to create a more unique keys into the table and create a foreign key and make it in more denormalized form.
No, no, no. The data is already in a structured way, right? Or with a primary key in existing table. So why you are doing that denormalization in your case? What is the use? What the purpose?
Okay. No, I don't know this. Okay.
All right. What is the map search done in Hive?
So if you have a big table, you have a big and small table is there. So to optimize your query, you will store one small table into the map side join, and the join will be performed on the mapper side, and
Mm-hmm.
that is used for your if you found any skewness in your data
Mm-hmm.
skewness in your data, so to
Mm-hmm.
resolve that issue, you will try to solve it with the help of map site join.
So what is the difference between Hive map search join versus Spark broadcast join?
Uh, Hive map site joined and broadcast joined are same. If you have a one small table and one big table is there, so to put a small table in memory or a map site join, you will use this things to optimize your query, like so that it will be run faster. If you submit this thing directly, like your table is very small and one table is small and other table is big, so the data will be unevenly distributed over the network, and you're get into the error like data skewness in your data. So to resolve that issue, we are using a broadcast join or this map site join.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What is the difference between queries and repartitioning in Spark?
What is the difference between?
Repartition versus coalesce.
Okay, so repartitioning is basically used to repartition or your data number to increase your repartition or decrease your repartition. And coalesce is always used to decrease your partition. So, and one more difference is if you are repartitioning your data in repartition, so the size of those partition is in equal size, but in Kohli's, the size of those partition is not so equal, and it is the data will become in a, unevenly form. And even when you are doing this repartition and coalesce in repartitioning, the data shuffling between the partition is more accurate as compared to coalesce. So this is the difference between repartition and coalesce.
Yeah, but in repartition, there is a lot of shuffle will happen, and it consume lot of resources as well, right? It consume an extra cost to the business. So why should we go for repartition?
But yeah, that is true. But as I read somewhere, like repartition will give you the more correct result as compared to college. So college always we will use somewhere where we need to save your data or write your data in some file. So in that case, wherever you are doing a repartition, so to decrease your number of partition, whatever the file is coming in number of partition, you can decrease those number of partition and save it in one file.
Mhm. Okay, what is the syntax to write or I can say I just want to know the syntax in Spark to join two data frames.
Okay, so suppose you have TF1 and TF2, two data frame of there. So
Mhm.
on common key you need to join. So TF1 dot join in bracket open TF2. You will see you will right, and then comma df1 dot id key is there, column is there,
Mm-hmm.
and equals to df2 dot id is there, and
Mm-hmm.
comma whatever the inner outer inner left you need to mention that, and close it in single quote you need to mention that inner at those, and you need to
Mm-hmm.
close the bracket.
Okay. Um, okay, Pooja, I think I'm done. You have any questions or what exactly that you're expecting this through mock interview?
So I need some feedback if you can give me to me, because I feel like I am lacking somewhere. That's why I
Mm-hmm.
want this mock interview.
Yeah, yeah.
During this 3 month of notice period, I'm not able to crack any interview
Mm-hmm.
till now. It is cracked from level one, level two, but at the end,
Mm-hmm.
it is rejecting by some reason. So
What
I
is the
need
end?
that feedback. End meaning like manager round or something. So it is they are not giving a positive feedback to me.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, no problem. I do notice review, but not that much. Okay, you can easily correct it, right?
Mm.
Um, and you also asked me, current situation of the market. We'll talk shortly.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, Coming to feedback of your interview, I know since this is not a real-time interview, I didn't cover so many. Idea is like we do after this interview supposed to give you a feedback based of my knowledge, right? So I know need to
Mhm.
take hours of hours interview to give you that feedback. Half an
Mhm.
hour of time is sufficient for me to test a candidate and then give an interview feedback, right?
Correct.
So that's the
Mm.
reason I took half an hour time, and more or less. So let me tell you what I noticed. Okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
Mm, no, number one, when I ask for the project, right? So
Mhm.
you are explaining some part of the project, but since you are having more experience and done a multiple project, and also you are in a lead position. Don't compare the current situation or current designation we are currently holding, but
Mhm.
as per the experience, as per the market standards, that you were more suitable for a technology lead minimum. Okay, so people will interview based on that in their mind. So you should
Mhm.
give your answers in that way only. Like, let us say when I ask the question to explain your project or projects, then you
Mhm.
take 2 to 3 minutes or 4 minutes or 5 minutes maximum, and first of all explain the I can say uh, explain the motto of that project. Okay, you never explain, like, you given me the name of the project and one line statement. The project means definitely there would have a multiple requirement, right? Not only single. Let us say fraud detection is one, and in
Mhm.
in that definitely there might be some other requirement will be there, right? And you
You
have to
mean
give
the
a
use cases? Use
use
cases
case.
need to be
Yes,
mentioned.
at least 3 to 4 lines, right? Use case you have
Mhm.
to explain 10 to 20 seconds, and then project structure. Like, project structure is source is this, and we are doing all the CTL or a transformation by using Hadoop and Spark, and then the
Mhm.
target is this, right? And
Mhm. Mhm.
so that interviewer can able to understand, okay, this is what the project, and this is what the tools that you are using in your current project. And also you
Mhm.
have to you have to back up, like, if, why you are using those tools. Okay.
Okay. Mhm.
Okay. I asked
Mhm.
you, right, the moment you say it is a banking related project, then why you went for the flume, right? So
Correct.
otherwise, I don't want to ask the questions from Flume. But why I
Correct.
asked, because of your project. If your project is, let us say, a sentiment analysis or some other non-banking sector, then
Mhm.
definitely I won't touch the Flume, because that's fine,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm. Got it. Got
So
it.
number one is a project use case. Number two is the design. You have to explain a high-level design at least for 30 seconds, and then
Mhm.
end-to-end flow, and then frequently how frequently your jobs are scheduled, what is the size of the data each day, Is it what kind of a file format that you are using? Why? And
mm,
and what is the, you can say, time taking, of maximum time taking of any job? And is there any challenges that you face? This and all you no need to cover,
mm,
because definitely they will ask many questions. But
mm,
when you explain this now, at least
mm,
2 to 3 minutes, that is fine. You no need to explain more than 5 minutes. Okay,
mm, mm.
and that too,
So, is there any
it is a
lacking
entry
while
level.
the explaining? Like,
See, what I noticed is like a structure. You're explaining the things, but not in a proper format. Okay. So
okay, okay. Mm,
ultimately, you have to end a conversation of project explanation by including your roles and responsibilities.
mm,
It is
mm,
very clear. First, you have to give a broader, you can say, design, HLD, and
mm,
then I mean use case and HLD, and then what exactly is your project, end-to-end technical words, and then what is your roles
mm.
and responsibilities in that project. That's it.
Okay, okay.
It won't
Mm,
take more. See, you are explaining bits and pieces, not in a continuation, or not.
okay.
You don't know what start first and what end with what.
Correct, correct. Okay. I got
First
it,
of all,
your point, like what
yes.
you're
First
saying.
of all, write down these points and what is the
Mm,
project, that is a summary of the project, and then HLD, a high level design, and then why you are using those is optional. I can say if they are asking, then you can explain. Otherwise, leave it. The third point is your roles and responsibilities in that project. That's it. Total three parts
mm,
in 3 minutes.
okay, okay, okay.
Okay. See,
Mm,
don't think this is not important. This is very important because this is the first
yeah, yeah,
impression is the best impression. And
correct.
you not only use only high level terms, okay, you have to include some technical terms.
Mm,
Few technical terms like you can say high level design, HLD. Based on the HLD, we design our project, that in that we use these is the tools. Okay.
mm,
um, when it comes about the HLD, then these
mm,
kind of words that you have to use some technical terms. Okay. And
mm,
if required, if you find some time during explanation of your project, you can also tell that we are using these file formats. No, like
mm,
you have to drive interview, not interviewer. You have to understand that how your questions are based. You will get a questions based on your answers only.
mm.
Why ask the question? You tell me that flume one. Why I asked you?
Because I have
The
mentioned.
yes, you mentioned the project is related to some credit card fraud analysis, right? So
Mm,
same way,
mm,
I'm first you prepare well in a file formats. Why what each file format what it will do, and why you chosen that file particular, let us say Parquet. Why you are using Parquet? Why not JSON? Why you are
mm,
not using let us say ORC file format? Because ORC and Parquet will give you similar kind of performance. Then why still
mm,
you using Parquet? What I understood is maybe Parquet more will give a more compatibility with the PySpark, whereas ORC will give a best performance with the Hive. That's what I understood. But you can say
mm,
these kind of answers if they ask the next question, right? So you have to drive yourself. You have to stress your answers
mm.
such a way that they have to ask the same questions in that answers.
Okay. Yeah,
You're
yeah,
getting me?
yeah. Yeah, yeah, I
And
got.
you remember one more question I asked. What is the difference between repartition and partition? Why I asked?
Mm.
Actually, there is no thought in my mind to ask that question, but still I asked. Why?
Why?
Because one of your answer, you told me we used repartition and coalesce.
So, that I specifically mentioned because I know about the thing. That's why I
Same way,
specifically mentioned.
same way. This is also smart way of giving answers. Okay,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes.
So,
Mm.
but make sure whatever you are giving answer should be clear for you first. You should be able to answer that. All right, and
So
broadcasting.
the explaining about the repartition policy, is it some wrong? Like what I
Not
am
wrong,
reading
not
from the
wrong, but
internet.
see, major important is there are 3 or 4 points. Like you covered one or two. One point is like uh, I can ask you only one question. If a repartition is having, um, you can say, reduce and increase number of partition, then why should we go for coalesce?
Police.
If you say this answer right, that's it. That is a major answer.
Mm-hmm.
I can say correct answer, a difference between coalesce and repartition, right?
Mm-hmm.
Answer is shuffling.
Shuffling, data
Shuffling.
shuffling. Mm-hmm.
Data shuffling is very less, very minimal in coalesce, whereas in repartition it is not. Since
Mm-hmm.
repartition is a costless operation, whereas coalesce is not that much. So
Mm-hmm.
when we use a coalesce wherever it is possible, in place of repartition, that will save the cost, right, to the business.
Correct. Correct. Mm-hmm.
So
To be
if your
point.
project migrated project, if somebody use repartition, still there is a scope in coalesce, then you can say this point in as part of performance tuning as well.
Mm,
And
correct.
data denormalization, normalization. This is also one of the technique used to reduce the number of joints
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
to avoid the costly operations. These and all performance tuning. Why we do performance tuning? To save some cost and to save some time. Correct.
Mm,
You have to highlight these kind of things so that management is in manager round, they will keen on these areas.
correct.
And moreover, if they ask any technical question, you should explain in technical only, not overall. Let us say I was asking you delta, how you do a
Mm-hmm.
delta load. So you should
Yeah,
explain in technical, but what you explain is at high level.
because I have
What you have to
not think.
explain. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Mm,
So these are the expected questions. Delta load or incremental load is the expected question, and window functions also expected question. So delta load na,
mm,
you have to tell a difference between full load and delta load. And delta load, for new insert records, we will follow this approach. For updated records, we will follow this approach. Okay.
mm,
Let us say we created one watermark column. We generally store that last executed time, date and time in one of the audit table, and then when we run the job again, we'll try to take that last executed time, and then the current time in between, we will pull the data from the source table so that we'll get only updated records from the last execution.
mm.
For
Okay.
that we used our target table and audit table and the source tables to capture these statistics to load a next load, the next run.
Mm.
You should explain technically. If I ask that question, how you implemented delta load?
So,
Understand?
as per of your feedback, what I'm explaining, it's not towards the leading the things. It is towards more development, as per my experience, right?
See, your profile, you are stating a developer, but explanation
Mm.
is kind of a manager. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So
Uh-huh.
you're not going that much depth. You're explaining on the top level.
Mm. Okay.
Top level, I can able to understand in your language or in your communication skills. Okay. how
Mm.
how in your presentation, I can say in your presentation I can easily grab that how much experience you have or how much
Okay.
maturity levels you have,
Mm.
because your answer should be crispy. If you are answering, uh, 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 you know, let us say if I ask one question, let us say delta load, explain me about the delta load, then you are explaining some other concepts. I can easily understand that you don't know the delta load or you didn't work on delta load.
Mm.
But I don't tell you,
Okay.
I can easily reject. I'm just telling you based on your experience, right? You should do that because you don't have that. Let us say one question I asked. What that question is like, you told me, na? Which one I never worked on it, something like that. What is that question? Oh, yes, Spark submit. This is very important question, I can say. If you say no, then I straight away reject it.
Mm.
Because during your 10 years term, you didn't get an opportunity to write one statement that is Spark submit with the parameters. I don't think so.
No, no. It's like See, I have submitted, but the thing is, I am not recollecting right now. Okay, so
So
I just
that is not
know the few
acceptable.
things.
That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
that
That is
is
not
not
acceptable.
acceptable. I am just skipping the things at that time because I am not
You
able
are
to
thinking
recollect.
that you
Like,
smartly skipped, but interviewer
ha ha,
knows the situation,
correct,
right?
correct.
So these are
Yeah.
the areas, only one area is sufficient to reject the candidate.
Mm-hmm.
Every question answer is very important. If you don't know something, sorry, I don't know. You have to say.
But this is not acceptable. Like you not will answer the Spark Summit parameters. What are they?
Yes,
So I
yes,
just trying to escape that thing. Yeah.
correct. Okay. And performance
Mm.
tuning, definitely you will get a question. So you should be ready with the performance tuning and technical things. Okay.
Yeah.
You have to explain in depth, ground level, you have to explain, not at high level.
Mhm.
Okay. And
Okay, okay.
error handling and logging, how you are implemented logging in your project. Okay.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
what may be the sprint time or via, how many days you took to complete one sprint. Okay. And how you handle a customer or a business. What are the
Mhm.
challenges that you face during your project execution? So these kind of questions you will get more. Okay. And what are the file format? Okay. Why you do broadcast join? What is the difference between queries and repartition? And
Mhm.
you may also ask for some window functions. Okay. Questions on window
Mhm.
functions. Okay, so
Mhm.
these type of questions are very, very, repeated ask, frequently asked question I can say for this range of 5 to 10 years
Okay.
experience.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah, 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 yeah. Thank you.
and coming to job market, no problem. Coming to job
Oh, yeah.
market, yes, the job market even in USA is
Mhm.
not good. That
Okay.
is affecting on the entire world, I can say at this present, and but this is a temporary. I can say by after 6 months or a 1 year, definitely it will be all right. But one thing I can say that though the market is not good, if you prove yourself as a worth candidate, even in a
Mhm.
single interview, definitely they should take.
What happening like for me, it's going for a screening round first and second is again technical. It's around three technical they are taking. So I go till second one and third one is technical by the client. So I don't know, like it's just a rumor going on. A work is coming and they are hiring it or just
No,
rejecting
no,
it.
no, no. See,
So,
ideally, there are two answers for that. Okay, you can assume the situation something in two categories. One is to safeguard ourselves. Okay, and the
mm,
second one is we are not enough capable to crack that interview. When you go to client interview, right, definitely they will keen on your technical skills, not the manager skills, I can say.
mm,
So if they
mm,
ask technically, they will see technical answers. Okay, so
mm,
again, I'm going back. Reason that you're not selecting in that interviews is this: if you do a background work or a groundwork and make it
mm.
yourself ready and give your answers confidently, I'm seeing some lack of confidence in your answers. You're saying,
See, I have rejected so many times and now I am feeling that something wrong with
I
me only.
understood, but you know what? In initial days when I started career, I lost my
Mm.
first almost 15 to 18 interviews.
I am trying from last 3 months. It's
It's
daily
okay.
I'm
It, that
giving
that
interviews.
that is no problem. First of all, leave that and try to uh, definitely, I can say one thing. In each interview, you would have noticed one or two cases where you didn't answer well. Definitely,
Mm,
right?
mm,
Nobody, no need to see. I no need to say that, but you can easily recollect after completing the interview. Oh, sorry, he asked that question, but I didn't answer properly. Because, for example, Spark Submit, you know very well you didn't answer properly, correct?
yeah, yeah,
Right?
because
You have to
right now
note
I'm
this.
not able.
Yes,
Mm,
you have to note those situations where you didn't answer properly and and prepare yourself for next interview. Like that, you have to
mm,
use this interview experience to improve yourself and get it ready for next interviews. That is a way of improving.
sure. Mm.
You tell me. Now I'm able to give you some feedback, but not all people will get the feedback, right?
Yeah, yeah, correct, correct.
The only one solution is this:
Mm.
self-evaluation or self-preparation,
Yeah, yeah. That's
learning
why
from the
I'm.
mistakes, right?
Mm. So, is it possible to, like, they have given me this slot for mock interview for almost after one month? Okay. If I will drop another mail to them to again schedule a mock interview, they will do for me.
See, a clever studies running by me only. Okay.
Okay, okay, okay.
If you want, you just send me an email again after well preparation with a
Mm,
pure technical knowledge, and
mm.
I will try to respond.
Sure,
If I'm
sure,
free, fine.
sure, sure. Yeah. Thank you.
And don't worry about the market. If you really have a stuff in you, definitely
Mm,
they will take you. Let us assume there is a 1 crore job in India. Okay. So
mm,
maybe due to this recession, temporary recession, only 5 lakh jobs or 10 lakhs jobs are not required. But still, 90 lakhs people are working, right? Why we are not thinking that way? So you want to part of 10 lakhs people, or you want to part of 90 lakhs people?
mm,
If you have a strength in you, if you are capable enough to handle the situations or in a technical side, then do you think to get a one job out of 90 lakhs is a bigger task?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because we are searching a reason why we are failing, but we are not uh, you know
Working
thinking
on
about
the.
the yes, we are not thinking about the what about the 90 lakh jobs. You That means you are itself is a degrading, right?
Mm. No, no, something is wrong with the package also. So I have switches last year only. So last year though, the
Mhm.
market is very good. So
See,
I
sometimes
got a.
sometimes
Yeah.
uh, you know I understood. You have to be a flexible if you want a job, okay, in your next
Mm.
interview. So you should not demand more. See the
No,
situation
no,
when you talk to
even
HR.
even I am not demanding. I have to open it for the negotiation also. But I don't know. Like the interview is going very well, and at the end it's stuck. See, I am feeling like right now, like should be stop now because I need to take a break because from last 3 months I'm doing continuously daily. There is one interview is there with some of the companies, so I feel like maybe it's over stressing on my mind and things getting messed up when I'm doing a I'm giving an interview. So I'm thinking to take a break, so just to thought to take a mock interview so that I can analyze my water level, like where it is
Yeah,
lacking.
it is recommended to take a short break, but not recommended to take a long break. Short break means like 1 or 2 days, it's fine, but more than that, I cannot recommend because the
Mm.
continuation is very much important. These days is very important for you to crack a job, correct? So if you
Yeah,
give a long break, let us say 1 week, 2 weeks, then whatever you read, definitely you will forget. That is for sure,
yeah,
right?
I need to
So
brush up
again,
again.
you have to waste your time, you have to invest your time to recollect everything. So I
Mm.
strongly recommend take a short break. Let us say go out and whatever the activity you do. Let us say you are more happy doing some small activities with your friends or family. Then you can do take a some hours of break or 1 day or 2 day break and then refresh and come back. But don't take long trips. Disturb your life again. Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
since you're on almost you're not doing a job, and once you select, definitely you may get some time. I hope.
Mm.
Then you take a long break before you join.
Yeah.
That is recommended. But as of now, you are on a climax. If you don't perform in a climax, then cinema will fail. Correct.
Yeah,
So nobody will ask you in a beginning how you are, but in the climax you ask is also very important, right?
correct, correct.
So
Let me
yeah,
just drop your mail again once I will prepare it well,
all right,
and then
all right,
let's see like how I will perform that. Okay.
okay. So do you think
Yeah.
this interview is useful for you?
Definitely, I means required this thing. See, my husband is also working in same field and big data and data science
Oh,
engineering, but
okay.
keep on asking him to give me the
Okay.
feedback, but he don't want to hurt me. So
Yeah, I understood. I
he's
understood that is
just,
not possible little within our relation. It is little
yeah,
difficult to hurt anyone. And anyway,
yeah.
no problem. I will try to help you as much as I can.